what typically teams need to win once, twice, three times in an NCAA tournament?
Experience, veterans, and experienced veteran guard play. And that's exactly what Coach Johnson has. That's what SDSU has. You talk about the likes of Paige Meyer. You talk about Haley Timmer. You talk about Madison Mathewitz. You talk about these guards who have put in a ton of minutes and they have seen these type of environments. There's not much that is going to rattle them. There's not much that is going to be unexpected. They know what's coming. They understand that you play for 40 minutes. If we don't win, we go home. They get that. This Oklahoma State group, younger, going to rely on a lot of fresh faces. Their top scorer, their top rebounder is a sophomore in Staley Hurd, incredibly talented young woman. But they haven't been in this. They haven't been in this environment. They weren't in the NCAA tournament a year ago. They were decimated by injuries. A lot of young players. She retooled within the portal, and they're playing this faster pace, etc. So if I'm going to balance two on a quote unquote sheet, I'm going to say, whoa, look at this veteran group. Look at where they've been. Look at the games they've won. Look at what they've had to do to battle themselves. You don't go undefeated just by happenstance. Those things it takes work. You know, they were pushed at times throughout the season, but they were able to manage that. And so if there was one thing you could dream up in that scenario, it is veteran, experienced, older guards. And that's what the Jackrabbits have.
Let's just say the Jacks were in the Big 12, since that's the league you cover, and they're playing a Big 12 team in the first round. How well do you think they would do? Well enough to win enough quad one games to be an at-large team?
Yeah, I think this is, especially with this group that they've had this season, I think there would have been absolutely some wins in that league. And they did it. You know, think about the teams that they went up against in their non-con, very similar to what you find in the Big 12. This Oklahoma State team, they come in to this NCAA tournament. They're 25-6. They finished third in the Big 12. Their net was top 30. That's why that's why they're in at a 7 as an at-large. I think that their youth is the one thing that is an X factor. I think there's a much more experienced South Dakota State squad. And I think that can be a big help for them, especially as we mentioned at the very top. Experienced, older veteran guards really, really do help in the NCAA tournament. And this is a very guard-heavy Oklahoma State team. As I said, they're going to shoot a ton of threes. They're going to go fast. They want possessions. If they're knocking down threes, it's a whole different ballgame. If they're not, and you can get out and go, that you can be methodical. And I firmly believe, too, that the success that this South Dakota State team has had is when Brooklyn Meyer gets as many possessions and as many touches as possible. That she is, I am a huge fan, always have been. I think she's the full package of one of the best posts in the country. It was not a mistake that she appeared on that top 10 finalist list for the Lisa Leslie Award in February. As much as she can be a factor in this game, as many touches as she can get, the one part about Brooklyn Meyer's game that a lot of people don't realize is how good of a passer she has become. And that right there in an NCAA tournament experience where you've got teams that are maybe going to take a little extra risk here, throw in a different wrinkle defensively, a good passing post can help you way. Huge. It's huge.
You like SDSU in this game? Are you willing to predict that?
I do. I think that this is a great matchup for the Jacks. It's going to be a close game. They're going to have to hit some shots from the perimeter. And as I said, I think Brooklyn Meyer has to be involved on almost every possession. Touches for her inside out. And I will say, John, one of my X factors the last 2 years of having a chance to watch this team, don't sleep on Mesa Bynum. And I say that because that 1-2 punch at that 4-5 with Bynum and Meyer is size that not a lot of people necessarily have. She is a great rebounder. She can extend the defense. And she's been a really good defender as well. So I think that's a really good 1-2 punch in the post So if she can be engaged, be involved on the offensive end, as well as be a stalwart defensively, that helps the Jacks a ton.
SDSU is the UConn of the Summit. They have to.
Right.
They beat everybody by double digits. I think all but 3 of their 19 wins, including the Summit League tournament. And they have to schedule brutally to capture people's attention and respect. The other thing you said, though, is UConn struggling in the post. Okay, well, you've mentioned Brooklyn Myers several times, and we know that SDSU is going to have a hard time matching up size-wise, post-wise, even if they have an incredible post when it comes to the big-time teams in the NCAA tournament. So that feels like, Mary Samsonite, Dumb and Dumber, Jim Carrey. You're saying there's a chance. Maybe there's a chance.
Here's what I will tell you. I think
stores.
There's always a chance. I mean, that's the of the tournament. That's why you play the games.
Yeah.
There is, you will see size in the post for UConn. They have, a couple ladies that are back, younger players that had been injured last year. I just think that there was that gap when they didn't have a player like Aaliyah Edwards coming back like they had last year, that those are big shoes to fill. Sarah Strong has done that. Everyone will be incredibly impressed by her. You could see why she was the #1 recruit in the country and should absolutely be the National Freshman of the Year. So the challenge for South Dakota State, if and when you go up against UConn, because I have seen it happen with other UConn teams, I've been witness to it in person, is that you've got to manage the start of the game. You cannot allow them to get that Stores crowd and allow them to put their foot on the gas and just blow you out of the gym in the first 4 minutes or even before the first media timeout. You have to stay competitive. You've got to stick to your system. You can't let the chaos and the energy kind of to run you out of the gym.